Hello, Jai Hind everyone, and welcome to Criminology live lecture series. I think this is our seventh lecture on Criminology live, and today we will be discussing about economic theories of crime. So welcome back everyone to the Criminology live lecture series. I think this is my first landscape video, and I don't know how it's going to be. Please comment which format you would be liking, whether the previous one that is portrait format or this one that is landscape format. Whichever you feel comfortable you will be commenting on, I will be making my further videos in that format. So in previous lecture, that is in lecture 6.0 and 6.5, we divided lecture 6 into two parts. We discussed sociological theories of crime in details. We studied social disorganization theory, we studied strain theory, differential association theory, social control theory, leveling theory, and of course about conflict theory. We learned that crime is influenced not only by individual behavior but also by community conditions, social bonds, peer groups, with inequality, social stigma, and also of course with power relations, that the critical theory of criminology which have taught us. So in today's lecture, we will study about economic theories of crime. Actually, today's lecture will be divided into two parts. So this is first part of economic theories of crime, that is 7.0. So economic theories, what are economic theories? Actually, economic theories examined the relationship between crime and economic conditions such as poverty, unemployment, inequality, financial stress, lack of opportunity, wealth, consumerism, and of course illegal profit. They also explain why some crimes are committed not because of poverty but because offenders calculate that expected benefits are greater than the expected reach. So this lecture will cover some of the topics that I'm gonna mention in this lecture are actually meaning of economic theories of crime, then about poverty and crime. We'll be discussing about unemployment and crime, about inequality and relative deprivation of crime. We'll be discussing about social choice theory. We will very much go in depth into it. Rational choice theory. We'll be going very deep in depth into it. The rational choice theory, which is something like very potato in criminology, or maybe even in public administration. So rational choice theory is also one of the most important theories in criminology. We will look in depth into deterrence and cost benefit analysis in criminology, particularly in economic theory of crimes. We will go further into another important theory of criminology, that is routine activity theory. Routine activity theory is one of the most important modern theories of crime. So we will go in depth into it. We will go into opportunities theory. We'll discuss about white collar crime, about various corporate crimes, and then we will go economic approaches by Marxist, how Marxism deals with a political and economic approaches with crime, with respect to crime. Then other relevant economic explanation, and later on how the economic theories that we will be discussing in this chapter will be or are relevant in India, as well as their merits and criticisms. So we will be discussing in details, in depth, about economic theories of crime. So please bear with me and let's begin. So begin with the meaning of economic theories. So what is economic theory of crime, or what are the economic theories of crime? Economic theories of crime actually explain criminal behavior by actually examining economic incentive, financial pressure, opportunities, with about cost, benefit, and unequal access to resources. These theories ask questions like why do some people commit theft, robbery, fraud, corruption, smuggling or cybercrime for financial gain, and why some people do not do it despite they have ample opportunity to do it. Okay. Economic theory of crime also asks questions like, does poverty increase the risks of crime? Does employment create frustration and illegal survival strategies? Does it pull people or push people towards crime? Other questions can be like, why can inequality create resentment even when people are not absolutely poor? Okay, when people cannot be absolute poor, they can be just relatively poor, not absolute poor. We will also go with the difference between absolute poverty and relative poverty. Okay, so when people are not absolutely poor, we will look into how inequality can create resentment and hence deviate people towards crime. Okay, we will address such questions. We will address questions like, why do wealthy professionals commit crimes like fraud, with corruption, tax evasion, or corporate offenses? Why do some offenders actually believe that crime is worth taking the risk? Okay, economic theories do not say that poor people are necessarily criminal. Most poor and unemployed people actually do not commit crime. Similarly, wealth doesn't prevent crime. Many serious economic offenses are committed by educated, very wealthy, and also powerful individuals. Economic theories instead study how financial pressure, opportunity, expected profit, weak enforcement, inequality, and social values may influence criminal behavior. So this is what we understand by the meaning of economic theories of crime. Okay, so let's delve into poverty or poverty and crime. Okay, let's delve deeper into it. So what poverty means? Poverty means lack of adequate income and resources to meet the basic needs such as like food, housing, healthcare, education, or even basic security needs. Okay, poverty may increase vulnerability to crime in several ways. For some examples, like poverty may lead to school dropout. It may lead to child labor. May make people homelessness. Okay, may make people homeless actually. It can bring about family stress. Definitely it can also bring poor nutrition to individuals and even to children, lack of access to healthcare, substance abuse, lack of employment opportunities, exposure to unsafe neighborhoods, dependence on informal or illegal form of work, and later it may also lead to a greater risk of victimization. In some situations, actually, people facing severe economic hardship may commit survival-related offenses, such as I can say that petty theft activities, like illegal vending activities, maybe sometimes begging or begging-related offenses, or participation in informal criminal markets. Okay, some criminal markets which are actually informal, that we can actually see in very metro areas. There is something in India called Chor Bazaar, okay, or the theft market or the tips market. Okay, even in online premises we can find such markets in deep web as well as definitely in dark web. Okay, but poverty alone, it doesn't explain crime. Okay, poverty alone doesn't explain crime. Many poor families maintain strong values, social bonds, and lawful livelihood despite very hardship, in earning and managing their day-to-day needs. They still obey the law, and they don't deviate from moral values. Therefore, poverty should be understood as a risk factor that interacts with other conditions, including family support, maybe with education, with social opportunities, with policing, community institutions, and definitely maybe with, and not maybe, but definitely with individual choices. Okay. So, as we are discussing in depth about poverty, let's go more deeper into poverty. So, what is absolute poverty and what is relative poverty? Absolute poverty, actually, it is inability to meet the basic needs of life. For example, a person may lack the food, shelter, the clothing, the very basic needs, okay? Also the healthcare or access to education. So this, in such condition, the person is said to be in absolute poverty. Absolute poverty can create extreme stress and survival pressure, okay? Out of this pressure, people can deviate into various ways, which may also lead to delinquent activities, okay? But I use the word very carefully, which may lead to delinquent activity. Whether absolute poverty or relative poverty, there is nothing. Poverty is not a defining cause of criminality. We must remember, poverty is not a must defining cause of criminal behavior. Okay, it may compel someone towards delinquent path. There is a possibility, okay, but there is no absolute certainty that if someone is poor, he is going to be criminal or going in such a way. No. Coming to relative poverty. What is relative poverty? It refers to being significantly worse off compared to others in the same society. A person may have basic needs. Let's say he got the basic needs of food, shelter, and clothes, but still feel excluded because others have far greater wealth. Other people that he can meet in day-to-day life or see or encounter in day-to-day life are with better status, with better consumption power, with better opportunities, okay? So relative poverty is important as we understood it, because crime may sometimes be influenced by comparison, resentment, humiliation, and feeling of exclusion. Here, let me tell you my point of view. Okay, this is my point of view. You must not write in examination, or you mustn't go with the same thinking as me. But I personally think that relative poverty has more to do with criminal activity or criminal nature of people than absolute poverty. So what I mean is that people who are in absolute poverty are less likely to go in deviant path or deviant way than people who are relatively poor or who are in relative poverty. Okay, so that's my personal point of view. So you may differ from it, you may have a different opinion, so I just shared it. Okay, as we have understood poverty and its possible relations to crime and two types of poverty, that is absolute and relative poverty. Now we are going with another economic condition, that is unemployment and its relation with crime. So we are moving with unemployment and crime. So what unemployment means? Unemployment simply means lack of paid work for people who are willing to do work and able to do work. This is simply unemployment. Unemployment is lack of opportunity of paid work despite people are willing and able to work. So this is a simple definition of unemployment. It can increase the risk of crime through several pathways, like it may lead to financial stress, may lead to family conflict, loss of self-esteem, frustration, social isolation, substance misuse or maybe substance abuse, youth idleness, increased exposure to criminal peers, or maybe with greater motivation for illegal income. Particularly for young people, long-term unemployment may be especially harmful because it can create hopelessness and weaken attachment to lawful institutions. A person who repeatedly fails to find work may become vulnerable to illegal activities like that of theft, maybe of drug trafficking, fraud, smuggling, illegal gambling, extortion, or maybe recruitment by criminal groups. However, unemployment also does not automatically cause crime. Like poverty, unemployment is not directly or not automatically cause crime. It is not an automatic cause of criminal behavior. Many unemployed youths or many unemployed people continue to seek lawful work despite very hardship, despite very much effort and living in very needy conditions. They also improve their skills, rely on family support, or participate in community activities, okay, then to going into delinquent way or criminal way of life. So the relationship between unemployment and crime is actually affected by welfare support, with family bonds, education, labor markets, local opportunities, and definitely with social values. Okay, so these are the factors that impacts the relationship between unemployment and criminal ways or criminal paths, or the route to criminal behavior. So as we move directly into youth unemployment and delinquency, we can find that youth unemployment can be connected with delinquency because young people may have fewer responsibilities, maybe with weaker financial independence or greater influence from peers. A young person who is out of school, maybe who is unemployed, socially excluded, and surrounded by criminal networks, he is or she is in a greater risk of gang involvement, that of drug use, that of theft, violence, or in present time maybe in a risk of cyber enabled offenses. Okay, so this is why youth unemployment, vocational, this is why actually youth employment, vocational training, sports, entrepreneurship, mentoring, and education are very important crime prevention measures or crime prevention strategies. So this is what we have gone with unemployment, and we have discussed about how unemployment, particularly youth unemployment, is related to delinquency. Okay, now coming to another factor, another economic factor which may lead to criminal behavior, that is inequality and relative deprivation. So what is inequality? Simply, inequality refers to unequal distribution of wealth, unequal distribution of income, education, power, maybe that of property, or maybe unequal distribution of opportunities. A society may become economically unequal when a small section enjoys high wealth while a large section faces insecurity, low wage, maybe that of poor housing, limited education, or maybe unemployment. So inequality may contribute towards crime through resentment, through social exclusion, with status competition, with frustration, reduced trust, with weak social cohesion, with increased exposure to violence, with unequal access to justice, maybe with perception that system is even unfair. Okay, people may think that system is unfair. Okay, so that is what inequality is. If we now come to the relative deprivation, it occurs when people compare themselves with others and feel deprived, feel humiliated, or maybe excluded. It even results from inequality. For example, a person may see expensive lifestyles, luxury goods, social media display of wealth, and unequal opportunities, but may have little chance of achieving similar status lawfully. Okay, so such person may feel deprived. Okay, this can create frustration and may contribute to property crime, may contribute to fraud, gang activity, or other illegal efforts to gain money and status. But as other things we have discussed, other social causes like unemployment or poverty, inequality alone, it also does not make a person criminal. It is a social condition among many others like unemployment and poverty. Inequality and deprivation is also one of the many issues or many conditions which may, I use the word may, which may compel someone towards criminal activities or towards delinquency. So these factors like poverty, like unemployment, or we, as we just studied, inequality, these are the social factors or social conditions who, if someone is in such condition, he has some possibilities, okay, maybe he has some more possibilities in going into delinquent way or going into criminal path than the others, okay. He is more vulnerable to be an offender, even to be a victim too, okay. So this is what we have studied with poverty, unemployment, and inequality, okay. Now going with some theories of economic theories of crime. As we go with some theories, the most important theory is rational choice theory. So what it explains, rational choice theory explains crime as a decision made after considering possible benefit and cost. Okay, so simply what is rational choice? Rational man is simply who thinks of cost and benefit. Okay, if he is seeing something benefit in it, he will accept it. If there is no benefit in it, he will not accept it. Simple, black and white. So rational choice theory is simply a person will go into delinquent behavior or criminal way if he sees there is benefit than the cost involved. Okay. So it is associated with its proponent Gary Becker, who applied economic reasoning to criminal behavior. Gary Becker, he has he has compared economic reasoning with criminal behavior. According to this theory, an offender may consider certain criteria like how much money or benefit can be gained, how easy is the crime, what is the chances of being caught, what punishment may follow, can the offender escape or hide evidence, is the victim vulnerable, is there police presence or surveillance, are there witnesses. So these are the factors that a offender or a criminal would think according to rational choice theory before he is committing a crime. The offender may not make a perfect calculation. It is not that the offender will go with analyzing all the questions that we have discussed, okay. In some cases, crimes are impulsive, emotional, and even poorly planned, okay. But in most of the cases, according to Gary Becker and according to his theory of rational choice, offender go with such calculation or go with very rationality, okay. Mainly in property crimes, in frauds, in cyber crimes, even in corruption cases or organized crimes, offenders often come with such forms of calculations. Let's say, for example, a fraudster, he may choose targets with weak security, with poor awareness and limited ability to report the crime. A corrupt official may accept a bribe if he or she believes that detection is unlikely and financial gain is very high. So coming to another point, the expected utility. What is expected utility in crime? Rational choice theory is based on the idea of expected utility. A person may commit crime when the expected benefit appears greater than the expected cost. For example, expected gain from in actually simple terms, expected gain from the crime when it greater than expected risks of the detection and punishment, people will commit crime. If a person believes that stealing a mobile phone will bring immediate money and that there is little chances of arrest, and then the person may see crime as beneficial. Okay, so crime prevention can sense this calculation by increasing the certainty of detection and reducing the opportunities, also improving surveillance, strengthening reporting system, and making lawful alternatives more accessible. So this is what rational crime or rational choice theory of crime. If we move ahead with the situational crime prevention, it comes from actually rational choice theory. Rational choice theory influenced situational crime prevention, or SCP, situational crime prevention, and in some lectures we will also study in depth about CPTED, that is crime prevention through technology design. Through crime prevention through environmental design, that is CPTED. Okay, so situational crime prevention, we are now going to learn about situational crime prevention. It aims to reduce opportunities for crime by making offending more difficult, more risky, and less rewarding. And for example, there can be CCTV in high risk areas, better street lighting, maybe secured locks, alerts from digital fraud, strong password practices, two-factor authentication, which is very much important in today's day, security guards, crime prevention design in public spaces, verification of financial transactions, quick reporting systems, and definitely visible police patrols. Okay, the purpose of situational crime prevention is not only to punish offenders after the crime occurs, but to prevent crime by changing the immediate environment. So this is what situational crime prevention, and this is how it is related to rational choice theory. So I think there are some other theories actually, like I think we are going to discuss about other theories in our next part, that is part 2 of this lecture. And I think we will be making part 2 in vertical format like the previous videos. So I think most people are waiting me there in regular format than this landscape format. So better we will be discussing other theories in vertical format than this format. So thank you for watching. Today we have discussed economic theories of crime. We have discussed about poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Also we discussed about rational choice theory, and lastly we discussed situational crime prevention, which also comes from rational choice theory. So tomorrow we will discuss about deterrence theory and economic decision making, and onwards then we will go with other theories of crime and other premises which are related to economics or economic theories of crime, or how society and socio-economic condition, with more focused on economics, how socio-economic condition contributes into crime. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.